For a long time, conservatives have said that they do not want an out-of-control federal government. They want to shrink it down. They don't want it to be powerful. They like checks and balances and all of that. But that may be changing fast. Take a look at these poll results. We're gonna bring this up really fast. It's gonna show you what do these different groups think about expanding presidential power. So stopping presidents from having to worry so much about Congress and the courts, basically making a more powerful executive branch, a more powerful president. Well, the numbers are changing quickly. To show you, we're gonna focus on one group. This is conservative Republicans. 52% as of the most recent poll say yes, the president should not have to worry so much about Congress and the courts. That number, 52%, that doubled since the year before when it was 26% and quadrupled since 2016 when it was 13%. So in the space of 3 years, maybe 3.5, depending on the month, it went from 13% to 52, which is just about as fast as I've ever seen any poll change.
And for overall, there's two other things that are important about that. So those are conservative Republicans, so they're the biggest hypocrites. But for overall, for all Republicans, it didn't quadruple, it only tripled. It went from 14% of Republicans saying, no, too much executive power, this Obama guy is out of control, no way, to now 43% of all Republicans going, yeah, of course, the president should totally circumvent Congress and the courts. What do you mean, yeah. Right? And so now let's look at Democrats, because a lot of studies show, hey, wait a minute, this is human nature. You look at facts that are against your side and you just justify it away, et cetera. And we've shown you those studies because we're actually fair. In this case, yes, the Democrats actually did think now they're more concerned about executive power than they were under Obama. But it's only a 13-point swing for Democrats, whereas it's a 29-point swing for all Republicans, let alone conservative Republicans.
It's even more, yeah.
Yeah, so by more than a 2-to-1 margin, the Republicans were bigger hypocrites. So that's a fact. And now the reality is, how about us, right? When Obama was doing abuse of power, we called it out. So there are executive orders you can do that make sense, and I thought that the ones he did on the environment were perfectly within the law and no problems at all. And by the way, Trump has done some executive orders that are within the law, and I've defended not the substance of the orders, but the ones that were within the law. I said, look, he has the right to do that, right? He's the president of the United States. Now, when Obama went outside the law, we tore into him. When Eric Holder, the Attorney General, came out and said, oh yeah, no, we can kill American citizens abroad with drone strikes without going to the courts. People were like, yeah. You need due process to execute an American citizen. He said, no, you don't. Now, due process means the executive branch just checking it with itself. No, that is not due process. That is an absurd theory, a dangerous theory, totally unconstitutional theory. We called them out then, we're calling them out now. And Obama opened a lot of these doors, and Trump ran a bunch of bulls right through them, right? So we're consistent, these Republicans, see, that's why I say, look, they're not, I don't know if they know the facts and don't care. More likely, they don't know a damn thing. They just say, principles, what name so? I just don't care. I don't like Obama, I like Trump. I want Trump to do whatever the hell he wants. Constitution, it's just a prop for us. Whereas on our side, we actually give a damn about the Constitution.
That's exactly right. It's our team. We're allowed to take the edges. That's why we're allowed to deny subpoenas from Congress right now. There's a whole universe of things that are happening that really fly in the face of any kind of allegiance to a constitution, and it's all because it's just political tribal politics. It's the other thing I would suggest at the base of this is it shows how there really is a disregard for what the nation's government is based upon. This balance of power that we're so proud of. The 3 branches of government and all this stuff that you're taught and that you begin to, treat in a sort of a reverential way. You realize that, hey, but when my guy's there, I don't really care about that crap. Just let that guy make the decisions. Yeah. And so there really isn't any balance to the government that this side cares about.
Yeah, and the one other factor, especially in this, and maybe why this is an outlier as opposed to other studies that show that oftentimes progressives and conservatives are equally hypocritical in ignoring facts that are inconvenient, is that conservatives by their nature are authoritarian. So they want a leader to just take over and lead. And so to them, like checking with Congress, that's a pain in the ass. And they just don't fundamentally believe in the concept of democracy as much as we do. You can go ahead and cry about that, but that's That's the nature of conservatism, that you believe in authoritarianism way more than progressives do. Progressives believe that we have to care more about what everybody thinks. That's what you make fun of all the time, right? If you're a conservative. So own it.
Yeah, they've never had the attachment to people actually being involved in choosing their leaders and things like that we have, but it's grown much worse. They're done with democracy. They're just not interested anymore. They want to end direct election of senators. They don't care anymore.
Yeah, and that goes to the last point. I'm so glad you brought that up, John, because demographically they're screwed. In the next election, based on the polling, they're screwed. You can go and tell me, oh yeah, 2016, that's what you said. No, that's not what I said. And I think that a lot of the media is overreacting to 2016. Trump's gonna get landslided. And they, in their hearts, the conservatives know it. And the conservative politicians know it in their brains. They look at the polling, they looked at the data, and they're like, we cannot win in a democracy anymore. So let's try to figure out a way around democracy. Let's limit the number of voters. Let's clean out the voter rolls. Let's get rid of direct election of senators. Let's make the presidency more authoritarian. How can we hold on to power when we have no prayer of winning in the long run in a democracy?
Yeah, or like if finally a Democrat wins the governorship, we strip him of all of his powers. We'll just use whatever we have to take away the powers of what we can no longer keep.
Yeah. And gerrymandering, and the list goes on and on. One party is in favor of democracy, and the Democrats have plenty of problems, but they're at least in favor of democracy. The Republicans—
maybe not in primaries.
That's true too.
But in the general election, mostly.
But look, that's why we're fair. It's true. In the primaries, in a state like New York, supposed to be one of the most liberal states in the country, right? They're terrible in how little they believe in democracy within primaries, right?
Yeah.
So, and if the Democrats want to gerrymander, we'd be opposed to that. But the Republicans at this point, knowing that the writing's on the wall, they got no interest in democracy, and they show it in every way imaginable.
Yeah.
So again, if you're in that camp, okay, but just own it. Understand that you're less American than us. And that might sound painful to hear. You're like, what do you mean I'm so white? No, you kind of missed the whole point. Read the Constitution. Well, hey, you made it this far. You must really like the Young Turks. Thank you, we really appreciate you. Now, another easy way to keep supporting us also helps keep your internet activities and data private, all with a push of the NordVPN app. Head to nordvpn.com/TYT right now for 75% off of your next 3 years.